all love her. So, Valentine Howie was indeed one of those people that went to go visit Maria Theresia von Paradis to see how she did things. And it was finally the kick in the britches he needed to open up his first school for the blind. It flourished in the last years of the reign of Louis XVI and our next guest. Everybody has heard of her, but nobody really knows her. She was born in Austria with the name Maria Antonia Josepha Johanna and arrived in France as the loveliest of all princesses. Please put your hands together for Marie Antoinette.
They called me the Austrian woman because it sounded like the ostrich bitch. La bitch chienne. The French love their puns. But puns are not facts. They merely seem so when they are spouted from the puckered lips of court ladies or enlivened by the engraver's arts. 20 years of libelles illustrating me, their queen, with a distinct anatomy of the ostrich, rutting like a bitch dog in heat, with the portly figure of the king, my husband, wearing his coupled horns, produced a rather unsavory family portrait. A picture is not worth 1,000 words, if what we want from words is truth. But a picture is worth 1,000 pounds in the purses of the printers who allowed scandalous, slanderous, salacious pamphlets to escape their shops, like so many evils of Pandora's box. They blasted the eyeballs of my illiterate subjects with thousands of images of me romping in the thickets with Prince Lord or simple gentleman, or lesboing it up in nymphet grottos. Oh, worst of all, with those indiscreet jewels emerging from my nether regions. That damned diamond necklace affair was our undoing. I thought my innocence would protect me. Innocence unillustrated is worthless. Admittedly, when young, I glutted on feathers and jewels. I indulged in elaborate theatrical spectacles and, God forgive me, rather large redecorating projects. What had I to do for when 7 years my darling, waffling, irresolute beast of a husband would not consummate our marriage? We were so inept. For 7 long years I remained childless. When we finally figured it out and started making our royal babies, it was too late. There was already too much anger. Then, in those last years at Versailles, our gaze turned inward, to tend our first prince born so sickly and to mourn our last princess born to die. We clung to the two that remained to us. We did not see the dangers coming. If I believed in a tormenting rather than a loving God, I might feel France doomed like Sodom and Gomorrah to the fires of hell, whose dreadful years of cold and famine turned the fishwives' knives against us. I gave to the poor, but it was never enough. I am not callous. I never said, let them eat cake. That was some old Spanish princess. Or perhaps she too was a victim of slander? If regret means anything with one's neck on the chopping block, I regret not taking seriously those lies, rumors, and pornography that smoldered and sparked flames in the hearts of my poor people. Now my darling children will have to make their way in a world that despises them. How sad to be a prince or princess these days. Better, much better perhaps to be born blind in this age that seeks to give you light. Oh, you should have seen the little blind children reading from their enormous engraved books. Their sweet voices rivaled the very birds of Versailles. Their radiant faces caught gaudy flowers to hang their heads in shame. If only they, whose blade hair hangs above my head, had turned their energy to more philanthropic revolutions. Food for the hungry, letters for the blind. But that was another revolution, and it died with Rousseau. If only we had run away to the New World when we had the chance. We could have bought a farm where my children could roam free. My petit chou could tend his little garden without armed guards patrolling its perimeter. And my Mousseline Saplez could play shepherdess with her little lamb in blue ribbons and tinkling bells. I can't see my children. With this hood on, I am blind. They have taken everything except my head. Nothing can hurt me now.
Keep it going for Maria. How are we all feeling? We all okay? Everyone's all right? Don't worry. She loses her head every night. In this, the theater we call eternity. Or is it the eternity we call theater? In any case, Marie Antoinette's head was not the only one to roll in the reign of terror that racked France in the last years of the 18th century. One man would rise above the rest to try and recapture France's past glories, and that man is none other than the great Napoleon Bonaparte. But we don't have Napoleon Bonaparte. But we have someone who fought alongside Napoleon Bonaparte, and he invented night writing, which is the precursor to braille. His stories are full of action and adventure and just a teeny tiny bit of pontificating. Please welcome Captain Charles Barbier de la Serre.